they operate at a higher level with more team play.
Ooh, well, are they the favorites? We're gonna go find out. It's one best of one, our final game of the day. For one more time, we have Intero and Jesse.
Oh, thank you very much. This is a quick one to get into, and I loved hearing you both vamp about two teams, one with a new look and the other with a steady as she goes approach. Jesse, I feel like it's been eternity since you and I casted Clubhouse, and we are also free of Layer Day.
What? So, okay, let me just get this straight. So, Clubhouse, there's still a mask room, right? And there's going to be missiles in the basement and toxin, and that's all still going to be here, right?
I think there's some guns in the basement of Clubhouse. I mean,
I'm just nervous, Parker. I'm not used to this. I don't know if I'm comfortable asking a map that isn't Lair.
Well, comfort is the enemy of progress. So settle in, bucko, and experience some growth. Okay? At the great hands of both Blast and Ubisoft, we will look at Clubhouse. So every single map that was played today, for the record, has received a new paint of coat. A new coat of paint. Words are hard.
New map. Okay, we're still learning.
Yeah.
10 seconds remaining.
Do you want to maybe say something, or do you want to just? Are you still mentally boomed?
I'm
that
looking
there's
for
no
our sticks
layer.
room. I'm like, where? Okay. Listen, Team Liquid and w7m, I think the desk kind of set it up pretty perfectly. This is going to be, I think, a tough game for Team Liquid. Just coming off of a Clubhouse loss to Supernova last week, which you'll be forgiven if you can name 0 players on Supernova, because I certainly couldn't have before I looked it up. So it's going to be awkward, I think, for Team Liquid to try to beat a team like w7m now on the exact same map. We'll see how they do on this one, starting on the defense. It is a bit of an interesting setup, I gotta say. Nesk is playing around with these mute jammers inside of a strip. He's reinforced the strip wall. Anytime you see strip wall reinforced, it's kind of a dead giveaway that something weird is going on, and I think w7m have sniffed that out. They'll be trying to find both Nesk and the captain of Lenda, as there are these top floor players alongside Daff and Maya, who are starting to hold down some of these stairways. Maya up and strip alongside Nesk. Haven't actually taken the initiative to push them out yet, Parker.
He's on the hunt. Be fascinated to see the way that Nesk plays with these new players surrounding them, both Daffa and Lenda. Daffodil and Lenda, as you need their full names. Nesk playing unsupported in strip right now with just these mute jammers is so peculiar. This is a position that's often referred to as suicide because you know that you're going to die. There's no way around it. The considerable time waste that Nesk has created for w7m is quite successful. At some point, you're going to have to maneuver your forces elsewhere, and that's exactly what w7m seem to be doing.
Yeah, they'll start to work their way down main stairs. They'd like to have Paulu down there to start opening the church wall, but he's actually the one distracted with Nesk up in strip. Maya on this Scopos did have some positioning in here too. Finally an opportunity, but Paulu just hits the shoulder. That isn't what he wanted. Dodez finally is there to pinch it, but that was a 2-minute clear of strip. And there's still a Scopos robot. They are thankfully aware of it. Can't really do a whole lot. Finally shoot it in the back, and that will be the Yuko cleared out. So 45 seconds now to work down the main stairs, down kitchen hatch if you have it open already. It's not going to be an easy push by any means. Good software being used by Dodez at LR, but they need a lot of work to make this push happen.
They are very far behind and will now just have to drop through the hatches and engage in favorable gunfights, or else I fear this round goes kaput for w7m. Now inside of Moto, working away at the castle barricade. Maya just with the one operator is shooting away. He gets traded out by Volps right off the rip, just as Daffo equalizes those numbers. Nice hold from Lenda inside of Church as he hits the ground. A 2v2 as the vault goes in, and Liquid takes round number 1 in a furious final battle.
And I think a sigh of relief for Team Liquid fans. Okay, they're back into it. This team has had a lot of stumbles over the last season or two, and now to see them up against a team like w7m, I think there was maybe a little bit worry with this brand new team that you might just get rolled over, but it's a really strong first round. I like that strategy. It's creative. It's unique. We were talking about how Lair is still seeing some evolutions, and I think it's fair to say Clubhouse even still is, despite it being the oldest map in the map pool. Nice little strip extension for both Nesk and Maya being played over there. You saw Castle as well from Lenda being used in towards kind of the bar and storage area. Lenda also with 2 big kills, I think, is important. Daffodil with 1, both having pretty solid first rounds being added onto this team in the offseason. I do feel like there's a lot of pressure on these guys, you know, because Liquid have made so many roster changes recently. They've been a very turbulent team. They've been trying to get back to that top level where they were a year or 2 ago. And now through the new guys coming in, especially through Lenda, coming in as the captain, the IGL, taking over from Ask, who himself just took over from Luconis, who was on this team for ages. There's a lot of expectations, a lot of pressure from the fans, and starting strong might alleviate some of that pressure that they could have been feeling ahead of their first professional game.
Liquid is one of the biggest organizations in the world and might even be one of the most well-known esports and gaming brands in the world. Not to mention the fact that they picked up one of the most infamous and notorious rosters in all of Siege with a player who is probably the best player to ever play this game without winning a major title, which is Nesk. Not only that, but Nesk is also universally liked. He's somebody who you don't really have a lot of haters. Everybody seems to be cheering on Nesk's success. So of course there's going to be an incredible amount of weight on their shoulders, not even just from themselves, because I imagine they have high expectations, but from the organizations around them, the organization they play for, and the community. Leo talked about it very well on the desk, where he said, you know, it was great to see everybody kind of getting in on the fun. And no matter what happens, everybody is focused on Team Liquid. For football fans, it's like the Dallas Cowboys. For baseball fans, it's like the New York Yankees. It doesn't matter where you live. And I suppose for football fans, it's probably Manchester United would be my guess, where it doesn't matter where you live, it doesn't matter who you cheer for, you're always going to hear about them. Team Liquid inhabits that same role. So a lot of pressure put on the shoulders by the org, by themselves, by the community. Team Liquid have always struggled to close out these big matches, and Nesk is still searching for his first major championship.
w7m have a lot of space. They're about to explode into these players. I mean, they've got the Uzi wall open, they've got the window control, they've got cash control, they've got everything they could want to go for this push in. They don't have any picks, though. Somehow every member of Team Liquid is still alive inside the bomb site.
Pick away at that gym bedroom adjoining wall. And just trying to break through whatever Kiba barriers have been set up by Nesk, who's now out of them. At this point in time, there's not much more you can do. Oh my goodness! Dodez has walked right into the bomb site. w7m slaughtering Liquid. They have all fallen to the ground. Palu, the former player from Team Liquid, the only member of w7m no longer walking. Loban will join him, though Palu is still bleeding out, still retrievable. Maya and Diaz, not the 2 newest players of Liquid, staring down 3 angry players at w7m, but hey, they're making it work. It's Dots in a 1v2, Jesse. From the window of Gymnasium, now going on to Repel. That was information that would have immediately been relayed to Maya as Palu continues to bleed out, maybe giving information. It's hard to tell from his position. Maya searching for a long arm. He might be in a very favorable spot. It will likely come down to Dots rushing on in, seeing the head. Maya almost had it by a hair, but w7m and Dots in particular getting the final kill at the last second. And it's a tie game.
Really well played by Dots. The least talked about player on w7m, but undoubtedly the unsung hero of this team, was described as Loban as the best support player in the world. Little bit of bias, I'm sure, but those two have made up the core of this team ever since its inception. They've been playing together since 2018 on Xbox, and I know that Dots is often known for his shield play, but when he has to clutch up on the thermite, he can do it just as well as anybody, and really does have a good end to the round for w7m. The early round I also thought was quite favorable for them. I mean, they were in a 4v2 advantage, and a lot of that came off of Dodez walking in, hitting some beautiful shots on the Twitch DMR. But those kills were also partly enabled by the Ying play that is coming out from Palu. Part of the problem with not taking any gunfights out on the map with Twin Bedroom, right? You're not dying over towards Ash, you're not dying over maybe below the bomb site, means that you're going to have a lot of players in a very small, clumped up area, and there's nothing Ying likes to see more than a situation like that. So a lot of blind players, when that push went down, allowed the plant to happen. Good attempt into 2v4 to clutch that back. I thought Diaz hit some beauty shots, but not quite enough in the end. We got a 1-1 game to start us off.
When these two teams tussled in stage 1, it was w7m who came out ahead in a 7-3 ass kicking. That Liquid would then suffer the same scoreline at the hands of FaZe the very next week. They'd do one round better, but still ultimately lose to Nip in the week after that, and then lose an 8-7 overtime 15-rounder to Furia. They would then lose the same scoreline to ENX the week after that. It wasn't until the 6th play day that Liquid won their first match. And still, Liquid ended up finishing 5th and making it to the playoffs. They were a slow starting team, but they were able to make up enough ground, not just because of their own performance, but more importantly, because of the performance of their opponents. You can move up the standings quite quickly if everybody above you keeps losing and you keep winning, but most of the times, as we've said before, the fate of your results are out of your hand. Kudos to Liquid in stage 1 for being able to keep pace. They're looking for a faster start here against w7m. And honestly, one round already, you're a third of the way to the scoreline that you had against this team back in stage 1, and it's only the 3rd round.
Capitao ban's going to make Garage just too big of a task, I think, for w7m. They'll need to focus over towards Master if they want to make this push happen. Clear through Master, clear through Jacuzzi, get into construction and try to make that second push happen. They've used all their reinforcements, and the wall is actually open with a rotate between site and con. So maybe a bit of a gift. Sometimes teams can struggle with that hard breach, especially after they already do some work on the platform wall. But open for free for w7m. What can they find off it? A bullet from Lenda.
Continuing to mag dump what little bullets you have in that SMG-11 as he looked for more, but he's outdueled by Volps in this regard. Volps and Palu were very briefly, well, for Volps, very briefly teammates on Team Liquid. Palu was one of the longer tenured members of Liquid before he was moved off, and I don't want to say a controversial move, but certainly one that was surprising for people not exactly in the know of this team. Nesk eliminates Volps, and the advantage swings back in favor of Team Liquid, as now the stumbling block for w7m is to get through the breach that was opened up. That'll be Loban trying to do just that. Palu falls by the wayside, Loban with a pick, and Liquid suddenly find themselves in the exact same position that w7m is in. But Maya decides to come to the rescue, slaughters Loban and Dots, and Liquid will regain their lead. Again, 3 rounds was all Liquid could muster against w7m the first time they did battle last stage. Liquid's already got 2 of those 3 rounds, so it seems like they're going to have a better performance today.
Loban a little bit lost, caught between 2 players, Diaz on the rafters, and then Maya top red. Puts him into a really awkward spot. Not able to close things out in the end. A bit of an unorthodox defense from Team Liquid, where they do play quite aggressive over towards Master, and they don't even get any kills that way too early on, but once they fall back, the kills start to come their way. The blitz just not quite enough coverage for Dots. Next couple of bans will be a zombie, which should make that garage clear a little bit easier next time for w7m when they want to go for it, so they won't be forced to push Master side. And then also the Ace, which is being used quite a bit after that Habana ban gets taken out. You're left with just Thermite, Cans, and the Maverick, which the Maverick has been working pretty well for w7m too, but never feels good to have your options being limited, especially on a map like Clubhouse, where you like to have a lot of angles open and walled. These can be particularly effective at opening lots of angles in lots of different places.
Located by attackers. 10 seconds to go.
I mean, I was willing to see if w7m would move on to a shield, like a proper shield, given that the Monty is still available, but a blitz will have to do in this case. w7m, I mean, you said they were known. Who was it you said was known for shields? Was it Dodez?
Oh, it's Dots. No, it's Dots.
Dots.
For sure.
That was Dots. I will admit, I've always gotten Dots and Dodez confused.
And when Dash was on the team too.
It was a nightmare. It was an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
It's like combined, they were like the Hydra-headed final boss of casting. Just like, have fun with that one.
Yep.
Try to be fast. I like to think I have a pretty quick mind and a ability to spit words out pretty quickly too, but sometimes it's just, you trip. For somebody you praised for being a shield main, he sure did leave a lot of his feet exposed for quite a while there, and Dots loses about 60 to 70% of his HP over to Lenda, who's roaming in kitchen. We're in round number 4, which means the bottom floor is wide open for the taking. Daffo flushed out of his spot right into the waiting arms of Volps inside a stock, and w7m, just like that, have quite the advantage with just a minute off the clock.
Nesk looks like he's going to safely get back to site. They did still play like a similar operator lineup. I thought maybe they were going to go for the same strip hold, but no, might have just been faking it instead. Kind of wasting time, but not actually risk your bodies. Team Liquid get an answer back. They kill Lobin, now 1-4. Tough start for him. One of the young stars on w7m, who's been with this team for a while, but is probably the face of the team and their personality, going back to even when they were that low team. It's going to see probably these next 60 seconds go by without too much action. w7m need to start opening up the hatches if they can. They've got lots of can openers to deal with that. They've got Todes for the floorboards as well, who can continue to work away at a lot of these soft breach angles they need to open up. Meanwhile, for Liquid, they're going to have one Nitro Cell down in the basement, plus any Goyo canisters that are still remaining in towards the site, and any vault cameras. Most of them were placed top floor, but it looks like there is still one main stairs that could call anybody walking down that entry point to site.
Sitting underneath that telltale sign of the Nitro Cell, waiting for some unlucky foe to walk in a position where the explosion can do some serious damage. Volps is very wary of what used to be referred to as pulse spot, as he's hoping to get that exothermic charge down. The Ace and Hibana ban mean that any hard destruction that's done needs to be directly applied. Lenda will die at the hands of Volps. I assume that was the player from Liquid tasked with shutting down any hard breach that goes. Volps doesn't have an exothermic charge in pocket, so he likely has a clear way in. A bit of a bumble there by Nesk as Dot stares through him. Diaz trades it right back and gets another over towards blue and flattens a third for good measure as Liquid reach the milestone that was so necessary. They only got 3 rounds against w7m last stage. They've already hit that total. Liquid in control of Clubhouse so far.
Diaz, one of the best late round players in all of Siege. The North American import coming down to Brazil to play for Team Liquid. He's often been one of those guys that we've talked about as a really dependable, consistent, late round surviving player who will always jump in at the end of a round and have those big clutches, have those big moments. Wasn't a technical clutch in the basement that time, but after his teammate died inside of blue, bit of a fumble with the Nitro Cell there. He needed to be able to step up. He killed both blue players to force the final hallway player as well. Really nice round from Diaz. Almost helped with the clutch, the 2v4 back on this bomb site too, not too many rounds ago. So nice to see Diaz is in full form. He's the guy that replaced Palu at the start of this season, which was a huge controversial roster move. I do like I said at the time, and I'll continue to say it, that I did kind of like the move. If you were going to remove Palu, getting somebody like Diaz who can, similarly to Palu, thrive in the late round, but also be a bit more support focused, I thought was going to be good for Liquid, and maybe they haven't had exactly the results they wanted, but it seems like an easy fit plugging in Diaz to this team, and I think that has remained true.
I mean, 7 kills for Diaz is a triumph no matter what team you play on or who you are. I mean, he and Maya right now are just leading the way. Nesk has moved into a much more hardened support role. Oh, he is playing flex right now. You've got Daffo being the true hard support for Liquid. I think it really does speak to Nesk's reputation, the appreciation that he has, that despite all of the changes to Liquid, Nesk's position has probably been in jeopardy. I don't really know the gossip behind the scenes of Liquid, but as far as I'm aware, he's never been in a position where he will be cut. They just keep moving pieces around him. I don't think Nesk is usually the problem, so why not do that? He can still take over games, though it does happen far less frequently than it did 4 or 5 years ago, when you've got guys like Maya, like Daffo, who can really thrive in their roles. Daffo in particular, who's the newest addition. good things can happen. Dota slaughters both Dafo and Nesk. So to the 2 players I was talking about, goodbye, gone. I have caster cursed them. What a shame that is. And Loban is waiting for the follow-up from Lenda and gets him as well, though Maya trades him right out.
Bit of a cheesy way to get your second kill of the game, but a frag is a frag, and the position from w7m looks nearly unbeatable. Maya and Diaz in the 2v4. Where have I seen this before? Gonna have to come up with some really big clutch plays, even better than what we saw last time.
Maya getting hunted down by this death mark. They have 13 kills between the 2 of them. 14 kills between the remaining 4 players of w7m. My goodness. I think the writing might be on the wall here for Team Liquid, though, Jesse. Maya and Diaz are both in really tough spots to swing their way out of. Diaz will try to find some salvation over towards Bathroom as he's the last one left, and no, both Palu and Dodez will shut them down. Again, they were just both in spots where you can't really fight your way out. You need to move your way out. There's too many hard walls that you have to deal with. I mean, if there's a soft wall, if there's an ability for you to deal some damage and maybe use your gun to dissuade them from pushing you, sure, that's fine. Obviously, that wasn't the case. When you've got one over in Logi and you've got the other inside a Bathroom, you're going to be vulnerable for a short period of time. Liquid lose that one, but they lost the round about 30 seconds before that all happened. Final round of the first half. Team Liquid right now on 3 rounds. If you go all the way back to stage 1 through the group stages, Clubhouse was the 3rd most played map in the South America League. And oh boy, was it defender favored. Almost 60% of the rounds played were won by the defenders. That means for Team Liquid, your victory is a 4-2 first half. If w7m is capable of winning this next attack, I don't know how Team Liquid's new roster will be able to handle attacking on a defender-sided map.
Dota is really the MVP of round 5. His clear through cash was absolutely ridiculous. Getting 2 kills all by himself and then a kill in the late round 2. I feel like Dota is one of the most underrated players on this team. I know I just said that about Top. I can say that with Dota too, because his fragging ability has been ridiculous. 138 was the highest KDR of any player in the South America League last stage, and now he's looking to repeat that once more. 5-4 is a strong start, but still plenty to do. One more attack will be all that it takes to get that tied 3-3 round split, which I think you'll be happy with if you're w7m. But last time, this bomb site was a huge problem. They couldn't go Rafters because of the combination of a zombie plus the Capitao ban. Now a zombie's no longer going to be playing in that position. So you have Diaz bottom garage who's trying to help out Nesk playing inside of the Rafters. So you've swapped out the Azami for a Jaeger that can do a similar job in terms of blocking the flashes that are likely to be tossed that way. But w7m might just choose to run it back for the master side clear. Not sure if it's the exact same setup over towards construction as what we saw in round 3, but regardless, if that is the way they want to go, then could be a good option. Now they're droning garage, so maybe they are still hunting for this way.
They always know that there will be somebody playing on Rafters, especially if there's an investment with HEPA barriers, mute jammers, bulletproof cameras, any of that sort of thing. As you can see, most of those operators are not available at the current moment, so Liquid have ADSs from the Jaeger and a mute jammer or 2 positioned up there. I don't know if a Banshee is positioned too. I don't know if you saw something. Looks like they've been able to flush out most of the gadgetry used by that Jaeger. As there go air jabs, there go Candelas, but where is the follow-up on this Jaeger? They still have a read on him. They'll march in, but right now this Jaeger is perfectly protected. All of that utility just used by w7m, and they've not been able to capitalize off of it. Nesk is entrenched in that position and is impossible to kill for w7m.
They're hoping to do something with those air jabs. The opportunity just wasn't given their way. They were also terrified of Diaz, who was previously playing bottom red towards Lounge, where he could have made an impact. Instead, they have to rely on that master side. Once again, they pivot really late to the other side of the map, and it does not go well. Loban falls, and it's going to be a scramble up red to get this plant down. I don't know, Parker. This looks like a tough push.
Yeah, I mean, I think this might be it for w7m at this point. They've managed to get Dafo and now can turn their sights toward Nesk on Rafters, firing away, but their bullets are just not hitting their marks. Once a member of this Team Liquid squad, all hopes will rest on Paulu right now in this 1v4 that becomes a 1v3. He eliminates Nesk on Rafters. Will now have to go after the 3 remaining players of Liquid as Lendedman picked back up and uses his Nitro Cell to great effect to shut down any potential comeback from Paulu. First half goes the way it probably should based on numbers. Liquid on defense, they take 4 rounds. Now we ask, how does w7m do, as they'll have the wind at their backs?
Good start for sure, Team Liquid. They are on a 5-game losing streak on Clubhouse specifically, so they have historically not found a lot of success here. One of w7m's favorite maps. They've played it 7 times this season with a mix of wins and losses, but generally a positive result. Team Liquid, at least when they played it domestically through 12 rounds, had a 1-3 defensive win rate. Really rough on the defense side, but a 50-50 offense. So actually a better offensive side for Liquid historically on this map than what we've seen from them defensively. Bit of a small sample size, so I would expect to see that maybe change a little bit. w7m can be monsters on the defense with the single highest defensive win rate in Stage 1 across all maps. But only time will tell. Again, a new look for Liquid too, so it's hard to look back on previous results and necessarily say that they will translate into this game. Double Heart Breach, or double Electricity Ban, I should say, from Team Liquid, as you typically always see on Clubhouse. Now we'll take out both Monty and Thermite. Bit interesting, because usually we'll see teams focus one or the other. We'll ban double Shields, or they'll ban double Heart Breach, but w7m double dipping instead, choosing one of each.
You can see on your screen the match results for today. We've only had one match go the full distance. It's been pretty lopsided. With, other than that one little blip, no team has got more than 3 rounds before losing. I don't know if this is just because North America's first day that you and I casted was so bitterly contested between teams, and now they're trying to get us home a little bit early. I'm not entirely sure. Brazil as a region is really fascinating and expanding, obviously, to South America, bringing in players from other regions or previously former regions, now all united under the South America League banner. Admittedly, only 2 Argentinian players outside of everybody else being from Brazil, but still. I deeply enjoy getting to watch this region, and their dominance at an international level is something that many talk about and can be studied by analysts and studied by people in the scene. I'm excited for tomorrow's matches, despite the fact that you and I won't be casting them. The matchup for the day, for me, well, there's 2 of them actually. Well, there's 3 really good matches, I feel like, tomorrow. Nip and Furia, Black Dragons and Loud, and then Liquid and FaZe to close out the day. Those will be, I imagine, incredible games. Let's get through this one first, though, hey? 1 minute in. Team Liquid has w7m on the run, but haven't been able to find a kill or real entry to the building yet.
It's been good Heart Breach work so far. Main wall served no problems thanks to that double Electricity ban. There are some players from w7m in awkward spots. Logan is sitting down below at the moment on that first floor, and they did have a player over towards Master too. Nesk just dies out on the breach. That's a really tough one to be losing so early, and here comes the garage push, but it is not even getting in the building. Everybody falling. The air jabs don't land. Candela's might, but does it even matter when everybody's falling for Team Liquid? It's only Diaz and Maya. I feel like we've said this 10 times today. This time it's a 2v5, so even tougher than all the clutches they've had before, but it does start strong with 1.
This would have been a devastating result for w7m had Liquid prevailed in this round, Jesse. At that point, you have quite the cushion. Hard for any team to overcome, even if it is a remarkably defender-sided map. w7m have some players that just need to wake up. Paulu on 2 kills on his roll, Loban on 3 kills on his roll. Usually we see them do a little bit better than that. Again, it's Maya and Diaz. 17 kills between the 2 of them, 30 seconds left. Hunting inside a garage, but I think they're just treading water at this point, and eventually it's going to give out and you're going to sink, and that's exactly what's happening to Liquid right now. Sink, Liquid, sink. Even though Liquid, I guess, technically doesn't actually work that way for the most part. Pretty adeptly won round by w7m as they've closed the gap now. 1 round separating these 2 teams.
If you have one liquid that's heavier than another liquid and you mix them together and like they don't actually mix, one could sink below the other.
I mean, oil and water, both
Yeah.
liquids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I changed my position. You've convinced me.
There we go.
Attackers
There we go.
locate
Sign.
Thank you, Jesse.
as many bombs as they can.
Good start on the defensive side. I really think the attacks where Team Liquid are going to get tested. I mean, we always say that, right? For any team, whether they are a young team, maybe that is completely inexperienced, or a legacy team like Liquid, who have made recent changes, the offensive side is going to be where they really get tested. We got kind of baited with 9Z at the start of the day, where they had really strong defenses and then lost all but one attack and ended up losing the game 7-5. So hopefully it's not the same story with Team Liquid. I don't think it will be, but you never really know.
10 seconds remaining.
Lenda, as a experienced player, I mean, he is not new by any means. Will still have a lot of pressure on him, isn't going to be used to IGLing a team of this caliber, and certainly hasn't been in this position in a very long time. The desk kind of touched on it, but he was on that old Furia core with both Fantasy and Miracle. After he got dropped from that team, he's then spent a year and a half in Tier 2, never stopped grinding, came back as the captain of Vivo Peak Stars, and then now is here on Team Liquid after not playing through Stage 1. We'll have to see what these pushes from Liquid end up being like. First one's not theirs. Similar push for round 8 because they've got to clear through cash just like last time. The Rafters hold is not as committed, of course, and so they'll get in a little bit safer. But you compare this push even to the first 45 seconds to the way w7m pushed this the last attempt, and at this point on w7m's push, I believe Dota has already had 2 kills.
It's really been the two fraggers from Liquid telling most of this story. I mean, Lenda's been hanging in, but a very disappointing start by Dafo, and
Yeah.
Nesk has just been getting beat in direct gunfights, which is unusual. But again, he's getting old at this point.
Oh yeah.
I mean, even that, a prolonged duel against Dodes, but he gets not just him, but Palu as well, so I frankly don't really know what's going on here. I say things and then immediately I get proven wrong.
He heard you call him old, and he took
did.
that personally, Parker. Oh man, big play over towards Cash. Now it's going to be an impossible task for w7m. Toxic Babes will stall at the window, crush a little bit. Oh, and Volps is on a flank. That might be the game changer. It won't matter if everybody else is already shot by Nesco and he hits an air jab. This could still be wraps.
Lenda, the only player on Liquid right now, no longer living. Diaz very narrowly missing an opportunity to get one on w7m, but he's shut down by Loban, as now they'll head back over towards Gym Bedroom. Nesk watching flank as Dafo attempts to get the defuse down, and ace denied, but a full house for Liquid. 3 kills by Nesk, 2 from Maya, and the lead between these two teams will go back to 2 rounds. Liquid closing in on match point, but not quite there yet. They are showing that they are much quicker to adapt with this new roster than the roster they had last stage.
And just like it has for the last 8 years, Nesk is going to be kind of the difference maker for Team Liquid. You saw how big he was in that previous round. You called him old, and you're not wrong. He's the oldest player in the South American League. He's been playing this game since the very first season, and he has not played the team even once. Yeah, in the early days, the org changed a little bit, but Nesk has been consistently with the same roster throughout that entire time. Still, you can go back through the years, and Stage 1 was the worst statistically in Nesk's entire history as a pro player. He put up a 0.9 KD ratio. He's been negative before, but only just. And so this will kind of be a bit of a turning point for Nesk. 0.9 doesn't sound that bad for a career low, but when you're Nesk and you've had the career he's had, it does raise a couple eyebrows as to where he might be headed next, not in terms of team. Seeing him bounce back now 5-7 is really important, not just for him personally, but also for Liquid fans, to him having good games.
Hard to disagree with you there. There's a certain romance that any kind of competition brings in. I mean, you know, fans obviously pour a lot of energy into supporting teams. I know no shortage of extremely devoted Liquid fans who have just experienced heartbreak after heartbreak after heartbreak, and I feel for them. Part of the beautiful thing of our job is that I don't get emotionally invested in any teams. Deliberately do that so that I can try to be as objective as possible. So when people ask, oh, who's your favorite team? I say I don't have one, and it's true. But I can feel for fans of teams like Team Liquid, for example. I can feel for fans of Virtus Pro, of DZ, these teams that have been around for a long time that just have struggles, and they seem to be a team that can always go close to the finish line, but really struggle to get over it. You can romanticize somebody like Nesk and his career. I'd like to see him win a major before he retires. Oh, okay. Good patience right now from this W7M squad, not overextending at all. As they'll let Liquid set up here on this main floor. You got ample time to move in as we've just hit the halfway point of the round. Aya slaughtering Volps, and that also allows them to push aggressively through Dirt Tunnel here. Jesse Lenda taking up so much space so quickly.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see an immediate push in. Still a couple of players on the top floor, Daffodil in particular, but could be holding a long angle. He's in logistics, so you never know all the way down through kitchen floor. Could be just trying to hold something important, but on that Capitao, they'll take a moment. They've got lots of time. They should use it to find these last few defender positions. Dirt Tunnel is going to be a really tough place to push in from, so they've got to get some picks first.
And down goes two players on W7M, both Dafo and Ness getting in on this fun. Dodez and Palu answering back. Maya and Diaz down for the count means it'll have to be the support players on the side of Liquid, but good news for them. Lenda's fragging out on this Blackbeard roll. Dodez last man standing for W7M. They can taste match point, and Dafo will ensure it's served to them on a silver platter. Team Liquid 1 round away as they are making a defender-sided clubhouse look to be the opposite.
I don't think anybody saw this coming. Maybe if you're a Liquid diehard, you thought they would win, but 6-3 up now, dominating on their offense. This has been really good stuff to come out from them. After they lost the first, I was worried we were going to see maybe the IGL of Lenda stumble a bit in the end, but Team Liquid are looking really well coordinated. That push in through Dirt Tunnel had to face a lot, but thankfully, the way shields work with C4s nowadays, it is easy enough to push your way through, and they did just that. Made that entry point happen, playing beautifully behind the shield, focusing on the objective when they have to, but also doing a great job of getting those kills. 12 frags now for Maya. A lot of those kind of late round kills. Maybe some impactless frags in there, but even still, I think you got to be pretty happy with this performance if you're Team Liquid. We did talk about Daffodil early as his debut game as a Team Liquid player, not having the most impact, but in that last round, I think he's shown exactly why he got joined onto this team, and if he takes more than 1 day to settle in for Team Liquid, I think that's okay.
Mm-hmm. They've actually got the matchup on the main screen behind them. I honestly didn't even know that was allowed, by the way. I did not think
quite a long delay.
I know there's a delay, but I did not know that that was even allowed. I admittedly am not an admin. I don't know the rule book as well as some of the other casters do, but it is a surprise to be sure. Timeout called with W7M on the ropes, and I mean, this is a team that wears their emotions on their faces quite visibly and wears their hearts on the sleeves. You've seen it whenever they've competed under any org or any roster that they've had. The core of these players get very visibly frustrated. They unlike some of their contemporaries in Brazil, do not keep their cool when things go wrong, and you could see from just all the separate player cams that it was obviously getting to them. W7M soared really, really high in the group stages, finishing first overall, just edging out Team FaZe Clan, but got knocked down in their first game in the upper bracket semis by Furia 2-0, and then toppled Black Dragons before getting 2-0'd by Nip. Didn't even finish in the top 5 when all was said and done. So a frustrating start to this stage for w7m. And I mean, if Liquid is back and Liquid ends up being, say, a top 3 team, that's going to have an impact on a team like w7m, because you're competing with Furia, FaZe, Liquid, potentially even Nip. All of these teams are going to be giving you a run for the money. Finishing in the top 2 for w7m is far from certain if Liquid proves to be as formidable as they've looked on some of these rounds. So again, it goes back to, if w7m think they're a superior team, they need to not just pick up a point here, they need to pick up all 3. That's already slipped through their fingers. Liquid guarantees themselves a point. The only way for Liquid to lose, Jesse, is through OT. So an excellent bounce back from a team making 2 pretty big roster moves in the offseason.
Once again, you're tasked with this difficult situation, which is, where are you going to go to clear this site? Are you going to go rafters? Capitao is not banned out, so it does seem a little bit easier on this second half. If you don't, you're going to have to push in through master side, get in jacuzzi wall. We saw some utility being cleared out by Daffodil, so it does seem like that's going to be the play. A couple of little Hibana tricks. You do see this quite often these days when both Thermite and Ace get banned out. Sometimes even if Ace is on the board, if you need the full wall open, putting X-Karos at the top bottom and then using a shotgun to open up the soft wall has been very common with the new ban system implemented in CGX. They do seem to know there are some players around Parker, and they'll start to make their clear.
They nade the mute of Lobin, who's still in this position, trapped in the bathroom, but with a shotgun, he's so dangerous in this spot. Finally flushed out by Maya, but Lenda bites the dust and will need to be picked back up. I don't think anybody from this w7m team is in position to capitalize. That timeout did not seem to work, Jesse. 2 very quick picks by Liquid. Lenda is back up from the grave as well, and w7m is reduced to 3 players, one of which, Palu, is being watched by Lenda. He has to be worried about his spot. Volp's using an impact to take down Lenda, and Dodes finds 2 on Inesk and Maya very quickly. Gaffo and Diaz are the last 2 standing, and that will reduce w7m to just Palu. What a start it'll be for Liquid. And of course, it's Palu who could play spoiler to his former team. 2 of the newest members of Liquid versus a very long tenured player. Palu caught out now over by Bomb Chassis. They know he's inside a cache and they can encroach upon his position. Neither player on Liquid with defuse case. A vault in! Daffo will be the savior, and Liquid's newest member wins them the match over w7m.